The fence line runs straight as a plumb line for a quarter mile. Mark stands on the wrong side of it, the roadside, the outside, looking in at land his grandfather cleared with a mule and a single-bottom plow, early April. Cold enough his breath shows. The mist hasn't burned off the low spots yet, and through it he can see his father's grave marker 50 yards in, under the oak his grandfather planted in 1952. Simple granite stone. He paid for it himself when he was 19, working double shifts at the mill. He can see it, but he can't reach it. Court order. Temporary restraining order, they call it, though there's nothing temporary about being barred from your own father's grave. The envelope in his hand weighs nothing. White, official, forwarded to Ray's address because he doesn't have one of his own anymore. Medical records. Certified copy. He opens it with stiff fingers. Inside, a single sheet. Laura's gynecological history. Date of first documented pregnancy, March 1996, 2 years before they met. Turns out the body doesn't lie. People do. Paper does. But bones and blood and surgical scars, they keep the truth even when you try to bury it. His hands shake. Not from the cold. 6 weeks earlier, the truck's heater doesn't work right. Blows cold on the passenger side, hot on the driver's. Laura sits with her coat on, scrolling her phone. Mark drove her because she asked, and he doesn't say no to reasonable requests. Never has. 20 minutes to the clinic in Riverside, bigger than Millbrook, still small enough you see the grain elevator from the highway. He brought her coffee, in the travel mug, light and sweet the way she takes it. It sits in the cup holder. She hasn't touched it. You didn't have to drive me, she says, not looking up. I don't mind. She makes a small sound. Agreement or dismissal, he's never quite sure anymore. His hands rest on the wheel at 10 and 2, calloused. 2 fingers on his right hand don't straighten all the way. Broke them in '03, job site accident. Didn't set right. He'd thought about having them rebroken, decided against it. They work fine. You don't fix what still does the job. The radio plays farm report, corn futures, diesel prices. His mind does the math automatically, calculating what the spring planting will cost if fuel stays high. Except it's not his planting anymore. The land's in dispute. Laura filed the motion 3 months ago. His lawyer says it's strategic, that she's trying to force a settlement. He doesn't tell Laura he's doing the math. Old habits. The clinic sits in a strip mall between a Dollar General and a tax prep office. Beige brick, faded sign. He parks close to the door, kills the engine. I'll be about an hour, Laura says. She checks her lipstick in the visor mirror. Still perfect. It's always perfect. I'll be here. And she takes the coffee now. 3 sips. Leaves the rest. Closes the truck door without slamming it. Laura never slams anything. That's what makes her different from his first girlfriend, from his mother who left when he was 12. Laura is careful, controlled. He watches her walk to the door. 52 years old. Moves like she's 40. Yoga, twice a week at the community center. She told him it helps with stress. The door closes behind her. He exhales, turns the radio back on, sits. Inside, the clinic smells like every medical office. Antiseptic and old magazines and something floral they pump through the vents to cover the antiseptic. Laura signs in. The receptionist knows her. How are the kids? Good. Dylan's doing well in Kansas City. Amber's finishing her clinicals. That's wonderful. Laura smiles. She's good at this. Small talk, being liked. Mark used to admire it. Now he just notices. Dr. Sarah Chin calls her back within 10 minutes. Efficient. Laura appreciates efficiency. The exam room, beige walls, paper-covered table, anatomical posters showing things Laura never looks at. Chin is 43, first-generation Taiwanese-American, worked her way through med school waiting tables. Laura told Mark that once, years ago, like it mattered. Dr. Chin reviews the chart on her tablet, pauses, scrolls back, frowns. Mrs. Holloway, I'm just confirming your medical history. You've had 2 pregnancies, correct? Yes, Dylan and Amber. Dr. Chin taps the screen. And no other pregnancies, no miscarriages, terminations, anything prior to your marriage? Laura's face doesn't change. No, just the 2. Dr. Chin looks at her, then back at the tablet. Your previous physician transferred records when he retired. I'm seeing notes here that reference postpartum complications from a 2nd and 3rd delivery. Silence. The air conditioner hums. That must be a clerical error, Laura says. Her voice is steady, warm, even, concerned about the poor record keeping. Dr. Chin makes a note, doesn't argue, completes the exam. Professional, thorough, but something sits wrong in her chest. Doctors learn to trust that feeling. It's kept patients alive. Everything looks fine, she says. We'll call with your lab results. Laura dresses behind the curtain. Thanks, Dr. Chin. Walks out to the waiting room, pays her copay. Smiles at the receptionist. Her phone buzzes in her purse. She silences it without looking. Mark sees her coming, puts his phone down. He'd been reading news, not really reading it. She opens the door. Brings the cold in with her. All good? All good. He starts the truck. The engine turns over rough. Needs a tune-up. He's been putting it off. Another thing on the list. They drive in silence. Laura looks out the window. He keeps his eyes on the road. You want lunch? He asks. I'm not hungry. Okay. At the stoplight, he glances at her. She's checking her phone again. The screen glows blue on her face. She's smiling at something. Small smile. Private. The light turns green. He drives. 3 days later, the call comes while he's at a job site. Framing an addition on a ranch house outside town. The number's local, but he doesn't recognize it. Mr. Holloway. Speaking. This is Dr. Sarah Chen from Riverside Women's Health. Is this a good time to talk? He steps away from the noise. Sawdust in his hair, nail gun echoing in the background. Sure. Her voice is careful, professional. I need to speak with you about something in your wife's medical history. Can you come to my office? Alone, preferably. His stomach drops. Cancer, he thinks. Something terminal. Why else would she call him? Is it serious? Pause. Mr. Holloway, I'd rather discuss this in person. Would tomorrow at 3 work? Yeah, I'll be there. She hangs up. He stands in the driveway of someone else's house, holding his phone. The sun's too bright. His mouth tastes like copper. That night, Laura makes dinner, chicken and rice. They eat at the table. He wants to ask what the doctor meant, but he doesn't know how to start. So he doesn't. She does the dishes. He watches the news. At 10, they go to bed in separate rooms. Have been for 2 years. She said his snoring kept her up. He didn't argue. He lies in the dark, thinking about the call, about the way Dr. Chen's voice sounded. Not sad, careful, like she knew something he didn't. He met her in 1998. October. He was 31, running a 2-man framing crew with Ray. His father had been dead 2 years. Heart attack in the barn. Found him that evening slumped against the tractor. The funeral was small. Neighbors brought food. Then everyone went home, and Mark was alone in the house where 3 generations had lived. The silence had weight. Physical. He'd wake at 5 out of habit and make coffee for 2, then remember. Laura Morrison worked at the county clerk's office. Pretty in a careful way. Hair always neat, blouses pressed, smile for everyone who came to the counter. He'd gone in to file paperwork for a building permit. She processed it. Asked if he was the Holloway who owned the land out on Route 12. That's me. I'm sorry about your father. He was a good man. Most people said that. With Laura, it sounded like she meant it. They started slow. She attended Grace Bible Church, the white one on Main, not the Baptist one his father had gone to. Mark went twice a year, Christmas and Easter, but after she invited him, he started going more. The pews smelled like lemon polish. Old Mrs. Henderson played hymns on an upright piano that stayed slightly out of tune. Laura knew everyone's name, helped organize the potlucks. She brought him a casserole 3 weeks after they met. Tuna noodle, still warm in a glass dish with a kitchen towel tucked around it. Heard you were out there by yourself, she said. Stood on his porch in a cardigan, October wind pulling at her hair. Thought you might want something home-cooked. He invited her in, made coffee. They talked until 9:30. She laughed at his jokes. Bad ones. Dad jokes his father used to make. When she left, the house felt less empty. 6 months later, they married at the courthouse. Judge Patterson presiding, Ray and Laura's sister as witnesses. Small reception at the VFW hall. Folding tables, sheet cake from the grocery store. Ray's boombox playing Patsy Cline. Laura wore a cream-colored dress. Mark wore the suit he'd bought for his father's funeral. They danced once. She fit against his chest just right. She smelled like department store perfume and hairspray. He thought, this is what being saved feels like. Dylan was born 10 months later, March 1999, 7 pounds 3 ounces, born screaming. The nurse placed him in Mark's arms and something in his chest cracked open. This tiny thing. Red-faced, furious at being born. His son. He called Ray from the hospital payphone. I got a son, Ray. I got a son. Laura recovered fast, came home after 2 days. She was good with his baby, calm when Mark panicked over every cry, every fever. She nursed Dylan, sitting in the rocking chair Mark's grandmother had used. Sunlight through the kitchen window. The smell of formula and baby powder. He took pictures, kept them in his wallet, showed everyone. Amber came 3 years later. June 2002. Easier birth, smaller baby. She had Mark's eyes, everyone said. Blue-gray. Serious, even as an infant. Laura said 2 was enough. Mark agreed. The business was growing. He'd hired 3 guys, bought 2 more trucks. The money was good. Not rich, but steady. He worked 60-hour weeks, came home tired. Laura had dinner ready. The kids bathed. Homework done. I couldn't do this without you, he told her once. She smiled, kissed his cheek. That's what partners do. He taught Amber to drive the tractor when she was 9. Too young, probably, but his father had taught him at 8. Amber sat on his lap, hands on the wheel, eyes huge. Clutch in. Good. Now ease it out. The tractor lurched, stalled. She looked at him, panicked. It's okay. Everyone stalls. Try again. She got it on the third try, drove them around the south field, laughing when they hit a bump. He held her shoulders, felt her joy, thought, this is what I'm building. This is why I work. In 2008, Laura suggested putting her name on the deed. They were sitting at the kitchen table, tax paperwork spread out. She had a pen, reading glasses perched on her nose. For estate planning, she said, if something happens to you, it'll be easier for me and the kids. No probate. He signed. Why wouldn't he? She was his wife, the mother of his children, the person who made the house a home. The notary came to the house. Laura had already called her. Efficient. Always thinking ahead. He remembers the scratch of the pen, the notary's stamp. Laura filing the papers in the cabinet, organized, labeled. There, she said. All set. He went back to work the next day, framed a garage, didn't think about it again. That same year, maybe July, hot enough the asphalt was soft, Linda Mercer stopped him in the hardware store. Linda ran the hair salon, knew everyone's business, talked too much. Mark usually avoided her. She caught him by the paint section, lowered her voice. Mark, I don't know if I should say this, but I saw Laura last week at the diner in Carrollton. She was with a man, didn't look like business. Something cold touched his spine. He made his face neutral. Laura's allowed to have friends, Linda. I know, I appreciate your concern, but we're fine. Linda's face closed. Of course, I'm sure it's nothing. She never brought it up again, neither did he. He told himself she'd misunderstood. Laura had clients sometimes. She did bookkeeping for a few small businesses on the side. That's all it was. He didn't ask Laura about it. Asking would mean he doubted her, and he didn't. He believed in her the way his father had believed in the land. Absolutely, without question. Dylan played baseball. Mark coached Little League for 5 years. Saturday mornings, at the field behind the elementary school. The smell of cut grass and hot dogs from the concession stand. Dylan wasn't great. Decent arm, couldn't hit a curve, but he tried. That's what mattered. Amber joined the softball team at 12, played second base. Mark drove her to practice, helped her with her swing in the backyard. She was better than Dylan. Focused. Determined. Dad, watch this, she'd say, and he'd watch. Every time. He never missed a game. Not once in 6 years. The business grew. Holloway Construction. Local, reliable. He bid jobs tight, finished on time. Built a reputation. The trucks wore out. He replaced them. Hired more guys. Put Dylan on the payroll the summer he turned 16. Dylan hated it. Complained about the heat, the early hours. Mark didn't push. Not everyone's built for this kind of work. Laura managed the books. Paid invoices, tracked expenses, filed taxes. She was meticulous. He'd come home. She'd have papers ready to sign. He signed. Trusted her. Why wouldn't he? Now he sits in Dr. Chen's office. Day after the phone call. 3 in the afternoon. The waiting room's empty. The receptionist led him back immediately. Dr. Chen sits across from him. No desk between them. 2 chairs. The medical file in her lap. Mr. Holloway, I'm going to be direct. Your wife's surgical history doesn't match what she told me. Or what she's told you, I suspect. His throat's dry. What do you mean? She opens the file. Points to a line. This indicates she'd already had 2 children before 1998. Before you married. The room tilts. That's not possible. Dylan and Amber were born in 99 and 2002. I know. But according to these records, she had 2 prior pregnancies. Live births. His hands are numb. Are you sure? Medical records don't lie, Mr. Holloway. Bodies don't lie. He looks at the file. At the neat handwriting. Dates, procedures, evidence. We were happy, he says. Doesn't know why he says it. I thought we were happy. Dr. Chen's voice is gentle. I believe you thought that. She hands him a sealed envelope. Copies of the records. You should probably speak with a lawyer. And he takes it, stands, his legs work, barely. At the door he stops. Why are you telling me this? She meets his eyes. Because someone should. Brenda Oakes works out of a strip mall office between a nail salon and a vape shop. The sign on the door says Family Law and Estate Planning, in gold letters that are peeling at the edges. She's 63, been practicing for 30 years, seen every variation of human betrayal there is. Mark sits across from her desk. The chair's vinyl, cracked along the armrests. The office smells like stale coffee and copy machine toner. He slides the medical file across. My wife's doctor gave me this. Brenda puts on reading glasses, studies it. Her face doesn't change, but her jaw tightens. She's good at poker faces. Has to be. How long have you been married? 23 years. Children? 2. Dylan's 26. Amber's 23. She makes a note. Mr. Holloway, I'm going to need access to your financial records. Bank statements, property deeds, tax returns, Everything you can find. Why? She looks at him over her glasses. Because if she lied about this, she lied about other things, and we need to know what. It takes a week to gather the paperwork. He finds most of it in the filing cabinet in the spare room. The room Laura organized, labeled, controlled, bank statements going back 15 years, property records, business documents. He spreads them on Brenda's desk like evidence of a crime. She goes through methodically, uses sticky notes. Yellow for concerning, red for fraud. The desk fills with red. Joint checking has $3,200, Brenda says. That's normal for household expenses. But your business account, you thought you had $60,000? Last I checked, that was January. She turns the statement toward him. You have $11,000. The rest transferred out over the last 6 months. 5 separate withdrawals, $2,000 to $5,000 each, all to an account in her maiden name. His chest tightens. I didn't authorize those. I know. And she pulls another document. The property deed, his father's land. 80 acres that had been in the family since 1947. This was transferred to her sole ownership in 2012. Do you remember signing this? He stares at the signature. His signature. The letters look right. The slant's wrong. I don't know. Maybe. She had me sign a lot of papers. Estate planning, she said. Brenda makes a note. I'm ordering a handwriting analysis. If this is forged, we have a criminal case. Criminal. The word sits heavy. What about the kids? Brenda's quiet for a moment. Then, I can order DNA testing. But Mr. Holloway, if those medical records are accurate, do it. The DNA test takes 2 weeks. Brenda arranges it quietly. Subpoenas Dylan's and Amber's medical records from their last routine checkups. Gets samples without them knowing. Legal, but it feels like spying on his own children. The envelope arrives at Brenda's office on a Tuesday. She calls Mark, asks him to come in. Her voice tells him everything before he walks through the door. The results sit on her desk. 2 pages. Clinical language. Percentages. Dylan, 0% probability of paternity. Amber, 0% probability of paternity. His hands go numb. The room tilts. Brenda's saying something, but it sounds like it's coming from underwater. Mr. Holloway? He looks up. How long has she been planning this? I don't know, but it's systematic. At home, except it's not home anymore, hasn't been for weeks. Laura knows he knows, she doesn't admit it. She escalates. He asks her about the money. She sets her coffee down. Looks at him with that patient smile she uses when he's being difficult. We already talked about this. The business had cash flow issues. I move money to cover payroll. That's not what the bank says. Well, banks make mistakes. Brenda says the account's in your maiden name. Her face doesn't change. For tax purposes, you know I handle the books. I never authorized. Mark. She touches his hand. He pulls away. You're being paranoid again. I'm worried about you. Your memory's been slipping. My memory's fine. Is it? You forgot Dylan's birthday last month. You left the stove on twice. Dr. Patterson said at your last physical, I didn't forget anything, and I never left the stove on. She sighs, that long-suffering sigh. Okay, if you say so. That night, he overhears her on the phone. He's in the garage, came in through the side door for his jacket. Her voice carries from the kitchen. I don't know, honey. He's getting worse. Accusing me of stealing, saying the kids aren't his. Pause. No, he hasn't gotten violent, but I'm scared. Pause. I might need to file a restraining order, for my safety. He stands frozen, the jacket in his hands. She's not talking to a friend. The voice on the other end is male, low, familiar. She says, I know what, just a few more months. Spring, we'll be fine. She laughs, soft, intimate, then, I love you too. He leaves through the garage, doesn't close the door, sits in his truck, in the driveway, engine off, hands on the wheel, 23 years, every birthday, every Christmas morning, every time he held her, every time he said I love you and meant it. Performance. All of it. Dylan calls the next day. Mark's at a job site, in the truck, eating lunch from a gas station. Egg salad sandwich that tastes like nothing. Mom says you're accusing her of stealing. I'm not accusing. I have proof. Proof? Dylan's voice is hard, angry. Dad, what the hell? You're harassing her. Going through her stuff. She's terrified. Dylan, listen to me. No, you listen. I don't know what's going on with you, but this paranoid, controlling bullshit needs to stop. Mom's been nothing but good to you. She's held this family together while you worked 80-hour weeks and barely noticed we existed. That's not... She said you're claiming we're not even your kids. That's sick, Dad. That's actually sick. Mark closes his eyes. Can we talk in person? I'll show you the evidence. I don't want to see your evidence. I want you to leave Mom alone. Dylan. The line goes dead. Mark sets the phone on the dash, stares out the windshield at the half-framed house. Someone else's house. Someone else's life. His own is collapsing. Amber texts that evening. Dad, are you okay? Mom's really worried. Please don't make this harder than it has to be. He types a response, deletes it, tries again, deletes his it. Finally, I'm fine, sweetheart. I love you. She doesn't reply. The town turns, slowly at first, then faster. Linda Mercer at the salon, washing someone's hair. I always thought Laura was such a saint, dealing with Mark's moods. But apparently it's gotten bad. She might have to leave him. On Pastor Whitmore to the church council. The Holloway family needs our prayers. Sometimes mental decline manifests as paranoia. Very sad. At the hardware store, conversations stop when Mark walks in. Jim Hastings rings him up without making eye contact. Mark walks down Main Street. People nod, tight smiles, pity in their eyes. He's not a man with a grievance. He's a man losing his mind. Brenda's office, 2 weeks later. The medical file sits on her desk. Thicker now, sticky notes, tabs. Copies, certified, notarized, evidence multiplying. The handwriting analysis came back. 85% probability the signature on the deed transfer is forged. So we have her. For the deed, maybe, but the money's harder. She had signing authority on the business account. Legally, she could transfer funds. Even if I didn't know. That's what her lawyer will argue. That you knew, you just don't remember. Mark leans back. The chair creaks. So she gets away with it. I didn't say that, but this is going to court, and it's going to get ugly. 3 days later, Mark drives past the land, his land. 80 acres that held his father's grave, his grandfather's sweat, his own plans for Dylan and Amber. There's a for sale sign at the road. Max, red and blue, professional. He pulls over, gets out. The sign's new, planted yesterday, maybe today. He didn't authorize it. Neither did the court. He grabs the post, pulls. The earth soft from rain. The sign comes up easy. He throws it in the truck bed. His phone rings. Brenda. Mark, Laura filed for divorce this morning. He leans against the truck. Okay. And a restraining order claims you threatened her, that you're emotionally unstable. I know, but the judge granted it. Temporary. You can't go near the house. You can't go on the property. You need to find somewhere else to stay. The land stretches out behind him. The oak tree where his father's buried. The fields he walked every morning for 30 years. He can see it. He can't touch it. How long? Until the hearing. 2 weeks. He closes his eyes. The sun's too bright. Everything's too bright. Where am I supposed to go? Do you have a friend? Family? Ray. He has Ray. Yeah, I got somewhere. He hangs up, looks at the land one more time, then drives away. Brenda's investigator is a retired state trooper named Vince. 60 years old, bad knee, doesn't talk much. He finds Connor Hayes in 4 days. Connor Hayes, age 54, runs Hayes Landscaping 2 counties over in Bentonville, married, 3 kids, lives in a split-level ranch with a boat in the driveway. Vince puts the file on Brenda's desk. Photos. Phone records. Timeline. Mark sits across from them. The fluorescent light hums. His coffee's gone cold. Laura Morrison and Connor Hayes dated in high school, Vince says. His voice is flat, factual. Broke up senior year, both stayed local. According to phone records, they never stopped talking. Calls going back 22 years. 22 years. Mark and Laura have been married 23. Brenda opens the file, slides a photo across. Connor Hayes at his daughter's high school graduation, tall, dark hair going gray, strong jaw. Mark stares at it, sees Dylan's face looking back. DNA? His voice doesn't sound like his own. Already subpoenaed through the court for the paternity case. Came back this morning. Brenda slides the report across. Connor Hayes is the biological father of both Dylan and Amber. The room tilts. Mark grips the edge of the desk. She was already pregnant. Yes. When we met, when she married me, she was already, yeah. The timeline reconstructs itself. Sharp, brutal. Laura got pregnant with Dylan in the summer of 1998. Connor wasn't ready. Young, broke, no prospects. His family had nothing. She needed security. She found Mark. Widower's son. Land. Business starting to grow. Decent. Lonely. Desperate enough to believe someone like her could love someone like him. She played the long game. Church. Casserole. Slow courtship. Made him feel like he was choosing her. They married in October. Dylan was born March. 10 months, she always said. No one counted close. Amber came 3 years later. Connor's too. How many times did Laura see him? How many lies did she tell? How many nights did Mark work late while she built a separate life? The money she transferred, Brenda says. Some of it went to an account Connor has access to. Joint account opened in 2015. So he knew. Mark thinks about every ball game, every parent-teacher conference, every Christmas morning. He was working, providing, believing he was building something real. Connor was watching, waiting, taking Mark's money to fund his own life. Why now? Mark's voice cracks. Why after 23 years? Brenda closes the file. You're 56. The kids are grown. The land's increased in value. 800,000, maybe more. She doesn't need you anymore. She's cashing out. That night, Mark sits in Ray's camper, can't sleep. He finds an old shoe box in his truck, the one he kept in the glove compartment. Photos, receipts, life's small evidence. There's a Polaroid on top, Dylan at 4 holding a catfish, Mark's arm around his shoulders. The boy's grinning, gap-toothed, proud. Mark remembers that day, June, hot. Dylan caught the fish himself, first one that wasn't thrown back. They fried it that night. Dylan wouldn't shut up about it for a week. Now Mark looks at the photo, really looks. Dylan has Connor's eyes, Connor's chin, Connor's ears. How did he miss it? How did he look at this child every day for 26 years and not see? Because he loved him. That's how. Love makes you blind. Makes you believe what you need to believe. His phone rings. Brenda. Mark, we need to decide. Do you want to tell Dylan and Amber the truth about their paternity? He stares at the photo. Dylan's face. His son, who isn't his son. They're going to hate me for destroying their mother. They're going to hate you anyway. The question is, do you want them to know you told the truth? He's quiet for a long time. What good does it do? They already think I'm crazy. This just makes it worse. Or it makes them understand why you're fighting. They're adults. They can ask for the DNA results themselves if they want. I'm not going to be the one who tells them their whole lives were a lie. Brenda sighs. Okay. But Mark, when this goes to trial, it'll come out. You know that. Then let it come out in court, where there's evidence. Not for me trying to defend myself. He hangs up, looks at the photo again. Dylan's laugh. Amber's hand in his when she was scared of the dark. Teaching them to drive. Homework at the kitchen table. Fevers in the middle of the night. Birthday cakes. Bad report cards. Good ones. All of it. Real. All of it real. Just not his. The biology doesn't matter. People will say, you raise them, you're their father. But the law cares about biology. And Dylan and Amber do too. Blood matters. He can say it doesn't. Doesn't make it true. Ray finds him an hour later. Brings 2 beers. Doesn't ask permission. Just hands one over and sits on the camper steps. They drink in silence. Moths circle the porch light. Somewhere down the road, a dog barks. You okay? Ray asks. No. Dumb question. More silence. They're not mine, Mark says. Dylan and Amber, not biologically. Ray takes a long pull from his beer. I figured. You figured. Dylan never looked like you. Amber neither, but I didn't say anything. Wasn't my business. Mark almost laughs, bitter. Everyone knew but me. No one knew for sure. And it doesn't matter. It matters. Why? Because some test says they got different DNA? You changed their diapers. You paid for their braces. You taught them to drive. That's a father, Mark. That's what it means. Tell them that. Ray's quiet. Then, they'll figure it out. Kids do. They think their mom walks on water now, but that won't last. Truth has a way of surfacing. And when it does, you'll still be their dad. Biology doesn't change that. Mark wants to believe him. Can't. He finishes his beer, crushes the can. I'm tired, Ray. I know. I'm tired of fighting. Tired of losing. Tired of being the only one who knows the truth. Ray stands, puts a hand on Mark's shoulder. Doesn't say anything, just stands there. After a minute, Mark nods. Ray squeezes once, then heads back to his house. Mark sits alone in the dark. The photo's still in his hand. Dylan's face, 4 years old, happy. He folds it carefully, puts it back in the box, closes the lid, goes inside, doesn't sleep. The mediation happens in a conference room at the county courthouse. Neutral ground, beige walls, long table, water pitcher. Sweating condensation on a cheap wood veneer. Mark arrives first. Brenda beside him. They sit facing the door. Laura walks in at exactly 2 o'clock, not a minute early. She's wearing a navy blouse, pearl earrings, hair perfect, makeup subtle. She looks like someone you'd trust with your taxes, your children, your life. Her lawyer's young, 30 maybe. Sharp suit, carries himself like he's already won. They sit. Laura folds her hands on the table, looks at Mark like he's a stranger. Maybe he always was. The mediator, woman in her 50s, kind eyes, seen this 1,000 times, opens the file. We're here to discuss the property dispute and dissolution of marriage. Let's start with, she forged my signature, Mark says. His voice is steady, doesn't feel steady. Stole $50,000, lied about the paternity of both children. Laura's face doesn't change. Her lawyer opens his mouth, but she touches his arm. Quiet gesture. He stops. She looks at Mark. Really looks at him. First time in months. I did what I had to do. The room goes still. Brenda leans forward. Mrs. Holloway, are you admitting? I'm not admitting anything legally actionable. I'm stating a fact. Her voice is calm, cold. Mark was a two-man crew living in a falling-down farmhouse when I met him. I organized the business. I managed the books. I made him look professional. That land was dying. I made it valuable. By forging my name? Mark's hands are fists under the table. You were going to give it to me eventually anyway. We talked about estate planning. I just made it official. That's fraud. That's marriage. Brenda slides the DNA report across the table. And the children? Laura glances at it, doesn't pick it up. What about them? They're not his. Silence. The mediator shifts in her chair. Uncomfortable? This is beyond property disputes now. This is something else. Mark's voice comes out rough. You were already pregnant when we met. Laura meets his eyes. For the first time, something cracks in her composure. Not much, just a hairline fracture. Connor couldn't. He wasn't ready. His family had nothing. I was 27 years old, pregnant, terrified. Her voice drops. Almost private, like they're alone. I needed security. You needed someone. It was fair. But fair. I gave you a family, Mark. You were alone in that house. Pathetic. Desperate. Do you remember how it felt? Waking up every morning to silence? I gave you 23 years of not being alone. I gave you children to raise. Most men would be grateful. The words land like fists, each one precise. Mark's breathing hard. You could have just asked me for help. I would have helped. I would have loved those kids anyway. Laura's face hardens again. The crack seals. No, you would have pitied me, and I don't do pity. So you did this instead? Stole everything? Turned my own children against me? They're not your children. That's the point. The mediator intervenes. I think we should take a break? No. Mark stands. The chair scrapes. We're done here. Brenda touches his arm. Mark, he pulls away, walks out. The hallway's too bright. Fluorescent lights buzzing. He can't breathe right. Leans against the wall. Closes his eyes. Brenda finds him a minute later. Doesn't say anything. Just stands there. I want to proceed, he says. All the way to trial. I don't care what it costs. Okay. And I want her to know. His voice breaks. He stops. Breathes. Tries again. I want her to know she didn't win. Brenda nods. She won't. Dylan agrees to meet him at Mel's Diner, off Route 40. Truckers and farmers. Coffee's terrible, but it's cheap and open late. Mark gets there early, sits in the booth by the window, orders coffee, doesn't drink it. Dylan walks in at 6:30. He's wearing a button-down shirt. IT job in Kansas City means he dresses different now. Corporate, clean. He sits across from Mark. Doesn't order anything. Mom said you wanted to talk. I do. And if this is more accusations, it's not accusations, it's evidence. Mark slides a folder across the table. Bank records, forged deed, phone records showing she's been in contact with Connor Hayes for 20 years. Dylan doesn't open it. Who's Connor Hayes? Mark's throat is tight. Your biological father. Dylan's face goes blank, processes. Then, what? She was already pregnant when we met. You and Amber both. Connor Hayes is your father. Not me. The DNA test proves it. Dylan stares at the folder, then at Mark, then back at the folder. He opens it, reads the first page, the DNA report, clinical language, percentages. 0% probability of paternity. His jaw tightens. He reads it again. Like reading it twice will change the words. This is fake. It's not. You paid someone to fake this. To destroy Mom because you can't handle her finally standing up to you. Dylan? No. Dylan stands, his voice rising. You know what? Good. I'm glad you're not my real father. Because a real father wouldn't do this. Wouldn't drag his family through this bullshit. Wouldn't try to destroy the one person who actually held this family together while you worked 80-hour weeks and pretended that was the same as being present. I was providing, you were hiding, and now you're bitter and old and you can't handle that Mom doesn't need you anymore. So you fabricate evidence and try to make her look like the villain. Mark's voice is quiet, shaking. I'm not lying. You're not my father. That's the only true thing you've said. Dylan throws the folder on the table. Papers scatter. I hope you lose everything, because that's what you deserve. He walks out. The door chimes. Cheerful. Wrong. The waitress comes over. Middle-aged, kind eyes. You okay, hun? Mark nods. Can't speak. She refills his coffee. Doesn't charge him. Leaves him alone. He sits there for an hour. The coffee goes cold again. He doesn't move. Outside, through the window, the parking lot lights come on. Sodium vapor. Yellow-orange. Harsh, his phone's on the table, silent, no calls, no texts. Just him and the cold coffee and the scattered papers, proving a truth no one wants to believe. Amber calls 2 days later. He's in the camper, lying on the fold-out bed, staring at the aluminum ceiling. Dad? He sits up. Amber. Dylan told me about the DNA test. Yeah. Silence. He can hear her breathing, unsteady, like she's been crying. Is it true? Yes. More silence. I don't. Her voice breaks. I don't know what to believe anymore. Mom says you fabricated everything. That you paid people to lie. That you're having some kind of breakdown because you can't handle getting older. Amber, you know me. I thought I did. She's crying now. But Dylan says you showed him fake documents. That you're trying to turn us against Mom because she's finally protecting herself from your control. That's not true. None of that's true. Then why is everyone saying it? Because your mother's been planning this for a long time. And she's very good at it. Amber makes a sound. Half sob, half laugh. That's crazy. You sound crazy. I know how it sounds. Do you? Because from here, it sounds like you hate Mom so much, you're willing to destroy your own children, to hurt her. I don't hate her, and you're not. He stops. Can't finish. You're not my children. Can't say it. Even now. I need time, Amber says. I can't. I need to think. Okay. Are you safe? Where are you staying? Ray's place. I'm fine. Okay. Her voice is small, young. I love you. His throat closes. I love you too, sweetheart. She hangs up. He sets the phone down, stares at it, waits for it to ring again. It doesn't. Ray finds him that evening. Mark's sitting on the camper steps, not crying, past crying, just empty. Ray sits beside him, doesn't say anything, just sits. After a long time, they'll figure it out. Mark shakes his head. No, they won't. She's too good, and I'm the crazy one. You're not crazy. Then why does everyone think I am? Ray doesn't have an answer for that. They sit in silence. The sun goes down. Mosquitoes come out. Somewhere a screen door slams. Mark's shoulders start shaking. He puts his face in his hands. Makes no sound, just shakes. Ray puts a hand on his back, leaves it there. I raised them, Mark says into his palms. I was there. Every day, every night, fevers, homework, baseball games. I was there. I know. It doesn't matter. It matters. Not to them. Ray doesn't argue. Can't. Because right now, Mark's right. They sit until full dark, until the mosquitoes get bad, until Ray finally says, come on, let's go inside. Mark stands, follows, doesn't know what else to do. Inside the camper, he lies down, doesn't undress, just lies there. Ray turns off the light, closes the door. Mark stares at the ceiling, listens to his own breathing, thinks, this is what it feels like when your life ends but your body keeps going. This is what it feels like to lose everything that mattered. This is what it feels like to tell the truth and have no one believe you. He doesn't sleep, just waits for morning. The camper smells like mildew and propane and something else Mark can't name. Old fabric, other people's lives. It's parked at the back of Ray's 5 acres near the tree line where the pines start. 20 feet long, aluminum siding, fold-out bed, hot plate, shower that barely works. Ray says he can stay as long as he needs. Mark doesn't know how long that is. He wakes at 5 every morning. Decades of habit. His body doesn't know how to quit. He makes coffee on the hot plate. Instant. Tastes like dirt, but it's hot and has caffeine. Sits on the camper steps. Watches the light come up through the trees. Doesn't go anywhere. The crew's running jobs without him. Foreman's handling it. Checks in once a week. You doing okay, boss? Mark says yes. Hangs up. He's not doing okay. Days blur. Monday feels like Thursday feels like Saturday. He loses track. Doesn't matter anyway. He sits. Walks. Sits again. Sometimes he drives to the gas station. Buys coffee. Drives back. That's the day's activity. Ray brings food. Doesn't ask if Mark's eating. Just leaves it. Sandwiches. Soup. Things that keep. Mark eats some of it. Not much. Hunger's an abstract concept now. His clothes hang looser. He notices in the mirror, the small one above the camper sink. His face looks older, thinner. Gray stubble. He doesn't bother shaving. He looks like his father did at the end. Worn down. Used up. Nights are worse. He can't sleep. Lies on the fold-out bed. Stares at the curved aluminum ceiling. Listens to his own breathing. It's too loud. Everything's too loud. The refrigerator hum. The propane tank clicking. His heartbeat. Around midnight, he gives up. Gets dressed. Walks. No flashlight. Just moonlight and memory. He knows Ray's property. Walked it 100 times over the years. Through the pines. Down to the creek. Back up through the clearing. Sometimes he ends up at the fence line. His old property. The land borders Ray's on the south side. Just barbed wire between them. He stands there. Looks across at fields he planted. Woods he hunted. The oak tree where his father's buried. barely visible in the dark. He can't go there. Restraining order. Judge said stay away, so he stands at the line, closes he's allowed. The moon lights everything silver. The fields, the fence posts, his breath rising white in the cold. He thinks about his father, about the day his mother left. Mark was 12, came home from school. She was just gone. Note on the table. 3 lines. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. Don't look for me. His father never talked about it. Just kept working, kept going. Mark learned from that. You don't break down, you keep moving. Except now Mark doesn't know where to move to. Ray finds him one night, 3 a.m. Mark's standing at the fence line, hands in his jacket pockets, staring at nothing. Ray doesn't say anything, just walks up, stands beside him. They stay like that for 5 minutes, maybe 10. Finally, Ray says, "You thinking about giving up?" Mark doesn't answer right away. Then, on what? The land? The case? Your name? What's the point? The point is truth. You spent your whole life building something real. Work, sweat, your dad's legacy. You gonna let her erase that? The kids believe her. For now. For now is all that matters. Ray pulls a pack of cigarettes from his pocket. Lights one. Doesn't offer Mark any. Mark quit years ago. Ray quit too, mostly. Keeps a pack for emergencies. This qualifies. Your dad would have fought, Ray says. My dad didn't have to fight his own family. No. He had to fight poverty and drought in a market that screwed farmers for 60 years. Lost your mom. Raised you alone. You think that was easier? Mark doesn't answer. Ray takes a drag. Exhales. Truth is like groundwater. You can cover it up, pave over it, pretend it's not there, but eventually it surfaces. Dylan and Amber, they'll figure it out. Maybe not today, maybe not this year, but they will. And when they do, I'll be the man who destroyed their mother in court. Or you'll be the man who told the truth when it cost him everything. Ray flicks ash. That's a choice. But you gotta be alive to make it. Mark looks at him. I'm not going to... I know, but you're not living either. You're just waiting. And I don't know what you're waiting for. Neither does Mark. The next afternoon, he's going through his wallet, looking for nothing, just something to do with his hands. He finds a folded piece of paper, worn, creased so many times the fold lines are white. He unfolds it carefully. Amber's nursing school acceptance letter, she'd given it to him 4 years ago, said, "Keep it for good luck, Dad." He'd carried it ever since. The paper's thin now, soft, like fabric. He's unfolded and refolded it so many times. He reads it again, the letterhead. Missouri State University School of Nursing. The formal language. We are pleased to inform you. At the bottom, in Amber's handwriting. Thanks for believing in me, Dad. Dad. He sits on the campus steps, the letter in his hands. The sun's warm, first warm day in weeks, spring coming. He thinks about the trial, about standing in court, about Laura's lawyer calling him controlling, paranoid, vindictive, about Dylan in the gallery, face hard as stone, about Amber crying quietly in the back row. He thinks about walking away, letting Laura have it all, just disappearing, would be easier. But when Amber's 40, when she's 50, when she has kids of her own and wonders about her family's history, what will she find? If he quits now, she'll find her mother's story, the story where Mark was the villain, paranoid, abusive, where Laura was the victim who finally escaped. If he fights, if he goes to trial, if he puts the evidence on record, then she'll find the truth. Medical records, DNA tests, bank statements, proof. Maybe she'll still hate him. Probably she will. But she'll know he told the truth. That's not nothing. That might be everything. He pulls out his phone, calls Brenda. She answers on the second ring. Mark? I want to proceed. All the way. Pause. You sure? This is going to get worse before it gets better. They'll drag you through everything. Your work history. Your relationships. They'll paint you as controlling, unstable. I know. The kids will be in the courtroom. They'll hear everything. I know. Okay. He can hear her making notes. Then we go to trial. I'll file the motion tomorrow. Brenda? Yeah? I'm not doing this for the land. Or the money. What are you doing it for? He looks at the letter. Amber's handwriting. Thanks for believing in me, Dad. The record. I just need it on record that I told the truth. Brenda's quiet. Then, that's a good reason. He hangs up, folds the letter carefully, puts it back in his wallet, sits on the steps, drinks cold coffee. Ray's dog, old hound, mostly blind, comes over, lays down at Mark's feet, warm weight, solid. Mark reaches down, scratches behind the dog's ears. The dog groans, content. First time in weeks, Mark feels something other than numb. It's not much, but it's something. He'll take it. The county courthouse was built in 1952. Limestone block, high ceilings, American flag behind the bench. Smells like floor wax and old paper and other people's problems. Judge Marilyn Kern presiding, 65. Former farm kid from outside Bentonville. seen every variation of human greed there is. Wears reading glasses on a chain, face like weather-worn wood. Mark sits at the plaintiff's table. Brenda beside him. He's wearing his only suit. Same one from his father's funeral, from his wedding. Dry cleaned but still doesn't fit right. Too loose now. He's lost weight. Across the aisle, Laura. Navy dress, pearl earrings, hair perfect. She looks like someone's concerned mother. Trustworthy, kind. Her lawyer's young, confident, already convinced he's won. The gallery's half full, small town. People come to trials like they come to funerals. Spectacle and judgment packaged together. Dylan sits in the back, arms crossed, face stone. Amber's beside him, tissues in her lap, eyes red. Mark doesn't look at them. Can't. Brenda presents evidence methodically. The forged deed, handwriting analysis showing 85% probability of forgery, bank statements, wire transfers. Laura's signature authorizing $50,000 moved to an account in her maiden name. The defense argues Laura had signing authority, that she contributed equally to the business, that the transfers were for legitimate expenses. Mark doesn't remember approving. But Holloway's memory has been declining, Laura's lawyer says. Sympathetic voice, concerned. His own children confirm he's been exhibiting signs of confusion, paranoia. Brenda stands. Objection. No medical evidence of cognitive decline. Judge Kern looks over her glasses. Sustained. Stick to facts, counselor. Then Dr. Chen takes the stand. She's wearing professional clothes. White coat left at the office. She's sworn in, sits, folds her hands. Brenda stands. Dr. Chen, please tell the court how you know the plaintiff. His wife, Mrs. Holloway, is my patient. Mr. Holloway accompanied her to an appointment in February. And did you discover anything unusual during that visit? Yes. Mrs. Holloway's medical history didn't match her stated history. Laura's lawyer objects. Medical privacy. Judge Kern waves him down. She's already waived privilege by disputing the records. Continue, Dr. Chen. Dr. Chen looks at the file in front of her. Mrs. Holloway stated she'd had 2 pregnancies, but records from her previous physician indicated she'd had children prior to her marriage to Mr. Holloway. Surgical notes referenced complications from a 2nd and 3rd delivery. That would indicate at least 3 pregnancies total. The courtroom shifts, whispers. Judge Kern taps her gavel once. Silence. Brenda introduces the DNA evidence, sealed from public record but entered as evidence of systematic deception. The results speak for themselves. 0% probability of paternity for both children. Chen's voice is steady. Medical records don't lie. Bodies don't lie. Cross-examination tries to shake her. Questions her interpretation, her memory, her professional judgment. She doesn't budge. 30 years a doctor. She knows what she saw. When she steps down, she walks past Mark. Doesn't look at him, but her presence said enough. Someone believed him. Ray testifies, confirms Mark's work ethic, his character, the systematic isolation Laura engineered. She told him I was jealous, cut me out of his life for 3 years. And Jim Hastings from the hardware store testifies. Saw Mrs. Holloway with another man, more than once, different towns. Didn't think it was my place to say anything. The evidence piles up. Bank records, phone records, testimony. Laura's lawyer argues she was protecting herself, that she'd contributed to the business, the land, the family, that Mark was controlling, demanding, absent. Mrs. Holloway managed the household, raised the children, ran the business finances, all while her husband worked 80-hour weeks and barely acknowledged her existence. There's truth in that. Mark knows it. He did work too much. He was absent. He thought providing was the same as loving. He was wrong about that, but he wasn't wrong about the rest. Lunch recess. Brenda pulls Mark into a side room, conference room, coffee maker, stale donuts someone left. I can subpoena Connor Hayes, she says. Mark looks at her, put him on the stand, force him to admit the affair, admit he's the biological father, destroy Laura completely, in front of Dylan and Amber. Through the door, Mark can see the courtroom, the gallery, Dylan sitting rigid, Amber crying quietly. Will it change the verdict? Brenda shakes her head. No, we're already winning. The evidence is clear. But it would be satisfying. Mark stares at his hands, calloused, scarred. Good hands, honest hands. He thinks about Laura at the mediation, her face when she said I did what I had to do. He thinks about Dylan's voice on the phone. You're not my father anyway. He thinks about Amber's letter. Thanks for believing in me, Dad. This is the moment he could burn it all down, make Laura suffer the way she made him suffer, drag Connor Hayes into court, make Dylan and Amber watch their mother's lies exposed in detail. Every phone call, every meeting, every betrayal. He could do it. No, he says. Brenda blinks. Mark, don't call him. The evidence is enough. You're sure? He looks through the glass again, at his children, who aren't his children, at the people he raised, loved, lost. They don't need to hear their mother humiliated in public. They're going to figure it out eventually. But they don't need it coming from me trying to hurt her. Brenda's quiet for a moment. Then, you're a better man than most. No, I'm just tired of people getting hurt. Closing arguments are brief. Brenda lays out the evidence. Mark's lawyer makes the case. Systematic fraud, forged signatures, deception spanning 2 decades. Laura's lawyer argues for mercy, for understanding, for recognition of a woman's contributions to a marriage. Judge Kern takes 20 minutes to deliberate. Returns. Everyone stands. In the matter of Holloway v. Holloway, she says, reading from her notes. No emotion, just facts. Property fraud proven based on handwriting analysis and testimony. However, the court recognizes Mrs. Holloway's contributions to the property value through management and labor. Mark's chest tightens. The court orders the following. 40 acres of the original 80-acre parcel, the timber section, returned to Mr. Marcus Holloway. The tillable 40 acres remain with Mrs. Holloway. Business assets divided equally. Mrs. Holloway ordered to pay restitution of $47,000, the portion of transferred funds proven not used for legitimate business expenses. She looks up, over her glasses, at both of them. This court recognizes that justice isn't always clean. Both parties contributed to this situation. Both parties failed, but fraud is fraud, and the evidence doesn't lie. Gavel. Done. Not everything. Not full justice. But truth established. Mark stands, his legs work. Barely. Laura's face is blank. She gathers her papers, walks out, doesn't look at him. Dylan stands, walks toward the exit, passes within 3 feet of Mark, doesn't speak, doesn't look. Just walks past like Mark's invisible. Amber stands, slower, she stops, looks at Mark, he looks back. Wants to say something, doesn't know what. She doesn't say anything either, but she doesn't look away. Holds his gaze for 3 seconds, 4, then she turns, follows Dylan out. The courtroom empties. Brenda packs her briefcase. You got 40 acres, your dad's land, the part that matters. Mark nods. Can't speak yet. And you got the truth on record. That's what you wanted. Yeah. I'm sorry it wasn't more. It's enough. They walk out together. The hallway's too bright. Fluorescent lights. People staring, whispering. Outside, Ray's waiting by his truck. Doesn't ask how it went. Can see it on Mark's face. You get it back? Half. The timber section, where Dad's buried. Ray nods. That's something. Yeah. They drive in silence. Fields rolling past. Spring planting starting. Life going on like nothing happened. Mark looks out the window. Thinks, I can go home now. Then thinks, where's home? Ray glances at him. You okay? I don't know. Ray drives. After a while, you did the right thing, not calling Hayes to the stand. Didn't feel right. Most right things don't. They pull into Ray's driveway. Mark sits, doesn't get out. I got my name back, he says, quiet, testing the words. That's something. That's everything. Mark opens the door, steps out. The air smells like turned earth and diesel and coming rain. He's not whole. Probably never will be, but he's not erased either. And maybe that's enough. 3 weeks after the verdict, Mark signs a lease on a rental house on Elm Street. Small, 2 bedrooms, built in the 50s. Aluminum siding needs paint, roof solid, porch sags slightly but holds his weight, $800 a month. He can manage that. He moves in with what fits in his truck, clothes, tools. The box of photos he's carried since leaving the house. Ray helps. They don't talk much, just carry things. The house smells like other people. Carpet cleaner and old cigarette smoke someone tried to cover with air freshener. The windows face east. Good morning light. That matters. He buys furniture from the Goodwill. Kitchen table. 2 chairs. Couch that's seen better days but doesn't sag too bad. Bed frame. Mattress from the scratch and dent place. Takes 2 days to set up. When he's done, it doesn't look like much, but it's his. Nobody can take it. Nobody can forge paperwork and claim it. That's worth something. Saturday morning, early, he drives out to the land. His land now, legally. 40 acres of timber. The half that matters. He parks at the old gate. Gets out. The air's cool. Dew on the grass. Smells like earth and pine and something green he can't name. Spring. He walks in. Feet know the path even after months away. Through the clearing, past the blackberry thicket that needs cutting back. Down the slope to where the oak trees start. His father's grave marker sits under the big oak. His grandfather planted it in 1952. 70 years old now. Bark scarred from lightning strikes, still standing. The stone's simple. Granite. His father's name. Dates. Nothing fancy. Mark paid for it himself at 19, working double shifts. He kneels, pulls the weeds. Someone, probably Ray, Kept it clear during the months Mark couldn't come here. The moss is thick on the north side. He leaves it. Moss doesn't hurt anything. Hey, Dad. His voice sounds strange. Been a while since he talked out loud to nobody. Got it back. Not all of it. But this part, the part that matters. A crow calls from somewhere. Wind moves through the oak branches. She took everything else. The house, half the money, the kids. His throat tightens. He stops, breathes. But she couldn't take this, couldn't take what you built. He sits, leans against the stone, cold granite through his shirt. The sun comes up through the trees. Gold light, morning light, the kind his father used to wake to every day of his life. Mark stays until the stone warms, then stands. Brushes dirt from his jeans, touches the bark of the oak. Rough, real, still here. Walks back to the truck. Monday afternoon, he goes to First National Bank. Requests a safety deposit box, the smallest one. Doesn't need much space. The clerk leads him to the vault. Concrete. Steel door thick as his forearm. She unlocks his box. Leaves him alone. He opens it. Empty. Metal. Clean. From his jacket, he pulls 5 items. First, the medical file. Certified copy. Dr. Chen's notes. The timeline that proves Laura lied from day one. He sets it in carefully. Evidence. Truth. The thing that started everything. Second, his father's original land deed, 1974. Faded ink. Legal description of 80 acres. Before Laura. Before the forgery. Before everything. Proof of what was. Third, the court verdict. Sealed copy, stamped. Official, 40 acres returned to Marcus Holloway. Restitution ordered. Justice partial but real. Proof he wasn't crazy. Fourth, a photo. Dylan at 4. Holding a catfish. Mark's arm around him. Gap-toothed grin. The boy he raised, even if not the boy he made. Proof love happened, even if it wasn't enough. Fifth, Amber's nursing school letter. Folded. Worn. Thanks for believing in me, Dad. Her handwriting. Proof someone saw him once. Proof he mattered. He arranges them carefully. Closes the box. Locks it. Hands the key back to the clerk. You want to keep this key yourself? She asks. He thinks about it. No, you keep it here. I know where it is. That's enough. She writes his name in the ledger. He signs. Done. He walks out into afternoon sun. The weight's different now. Not lighter, just different. The truth exists. Documented, locked away. He doesn't have to carry it anymore. It just is. At home, he started thinking of the rental house as home. He sets up a workbench in the garage. Old bench Ray gave him. Solid maple. Vice still works. He hasn't done woodworking in years. 20 maybe. Used to build furniture. Small things. Cutting boards, jewelry boxes. Stopped when the business grew. No time for it. Now he has time. He buys lumber from the hardware store. Jim Hastings rings him up. Makes eye contact now. Nods. Good to see you, Mark. You too. That's all. But it's something. He starts simple. Small table. 4 legs. Flat top. Nothing fancy, just practice. See if his hands remember. They do. The rhythm of the planer. The smell of sawdust. Pine and oak and something older. Memory, maybe. His father's barn. His grandfather's shop. The smell of making things. He works slowly. No rush. Measures twice. Cuts once. The way his father taught him. The table takes a week. He's not fast anymore. But it's level. Joints tight. Finish smooth. He sets it in the kitchen. Puts his coffee mug on it the next morning. It holds. Ray stops by. Brings beer. They sit on the porch. The sag doesn't bother Ray. He's sat on worse. Heard Laura moved to Missouri. Took the money from selling her half of the land. Mark nods. Doesn't say anything. You okay with that? I don't have to see her at the grocery store. That's okay with me. Ray drinks his beer. Watches the street. Dylan called me. Mark looks up. Alert. Asked where you were living. I told him. He say why? Nope. Mark processes this. When? 3 days ago? 3 days. Dylan knows where he lives. Hasn't come by. Hasn't called. Just asked. It's not much, but it's more than nothing. You think he'll... I don't know, Ray says. But he asked. That's something. They finish their beers. Ray leaves. Mark sits on the porch until dark. His phone doesn't ring, but it might someday. That's new. A card comes in the mail. No return address. Inside, simple note. I'm glad you're okay. The truth matters. S.C. Dr. Chen. He pins it to the refrigerator, 1 push pin, next to the photo of Amber at graduation. 2 things on the fridge. Not much, but it's a start. That night, he cooks. First real meal in months. Chicken, rice, vegetables that aren't from a can. He sets the table. His table, the one he built, and sits down. Eats slowly. Tastes the food. It's not great. He's out of practice. But it's food he made in a house that's his. After, he washes the dishes. Stands at the sink. Looks out the window at the backyard. Small yard. chain link fence, grass needs mowing. He'll do it tomorrow. For the first time in months, he thinks about tomorrow and doesn't feel weight. Just possibility, small, fragile, but real. He dries the dishes, puts them away, turns off the light, goes to bed, sleeps 6 hours straight, first time since February. 4 months after the trial, Mark's phone rings on a Tuesday evening. He's in the garage, sanding table legs. Unknown number. He almost doesn't answer. Dad? Everything stops. Amber. Silence. He can hear her breathing. Uneven, like she's been crying or thinking about crying. Are you eating okay? Strange first question, but it's hers. He'll take it. Yeah, I'm eating. Okay. I'll pause. I drove by your house last week. The rental on Elm. His chest tightens. You didn't stop. I wasn't ready. And now, longer pause. I'm still not ready, but I wanted to make sure you're okay. He sets the sandpaper down, sits on the workbench. I'm okay. Dylan's really angry. I know. He won't talk about you, won't let me mention your name. He says you destroyed Mom, that you're cruel. Mark closes his eyes. What do you say? I don't know what to say. Her voice breaks. Mom says you fabricated everything, that you paid people to lie, that you're sick and you don't know it. Amber, but I read the court documents. Mom doesn't know I did. I went to the courthouse. Read the verdict, the evidence. His throat's tight, can't speak. The medical records, the bank statements, the handwriting analysis. She's crying now, trying not to, but failing. I don't understand how she could do that. Neither do I. Were you ever happy, you and Mom? He thinks about the casserole, the tractor ride, Christmas mornings, Dylan's first steps, Amber falling asleep on his chest, 23 years of moments. Some of them must have been real. I thought I was, but she wasn't. No. Amber makes a sound, half sob. I miss you. The words break something in him. Good break. Clean. I miss you too, sweetheart. I can't see you yet. He'd be so angry. And Mom, she needs me right now. She's not doing well. I understand. Do you? You're caught between us. I know what that feels like. I won't ask you to choose. She's quiet for a long time. Then, thank you. Amber? Yeah? I'm not going anywhere. When you're ready, I'll be here. Okay. Her voice is small. Young. I have to go. Okay. Dad? Yeah? I believe you. About the evidence, I need time. And he closes his eyes. Take all the time you need. She hangs up. He sits in the garage. The workbench is hard beneath him, sawdust in his hair, the phone still warm in his hand. She believes him. It's not forgiveness, not reconciliation, but it's belief. That's enough for now. The town shifts, slowly, like ice thawing. Jim Hastings at the hardware store doesn't just nod anymore. He talks. How's the house? Need anything for that plumbing? Small talk, normal talk. Linda Mercer stops him outside the post office. She's carrying grocery bags, hair done up, lipstick perfect. Mark. She sets the bags down. I should have said something years ago. When I saw her with that man, I should have pushed harder. It's okay. No, it's not. I knew something was wrong, and I let her make me feel like a busybody. I'm sorry. He doesn't know what to say. Settles on. You told me. I didn't listen. That's on me. She picks up her bags. Well, for what it's worth, people know now. What she did, what you went through, doesn't change anything. Maybe not. But the truth's out there. That matters. She walks to her car. He stands there, realizes she's right. The truth is out there. Documented, known. Laura can't rewrite it anymore. Pastor Whitmore catches him in the church parking lot Sunday morning. Mark's been going again. Sits in the back, leaves during the last hymn. But he goes, Mark, can I talk to you? Here it comes. The apology, the explanation. I should have listened better, Whitmore says. No preamble. You came to me twice, said something was wrong. I dismissed it, told you to pray, to be patient. I was wrong. Mark nods, doesn't trust his voice. The church is here if you need anything. I mean that. Okay. Whitmore puts a hand on Mark's shoulder, squeezes once, walks away. It's not enough to erase what happened, but it's something. Ray and Mark are working a job together. Small deck repair for a widow on the edge of town. Ray's telling stories, keeps Mark distracted, keeps things normal. My ex-wife took my dog, my truck, and my dignity when she left, Ray says, hammering nails, not looking up. You know what I got in return? What? Peace and quiet. Mark laughs. First real laugh in months. It comes out rusty, unpracticed, but real. Ray grins. You're gonna be okay, you know. Yeah? Yeah. You're too stubborn to quit, and too decent to turn mean. That's rare. Decent didn't get me much. Got you your name back. Got you this. He gestures at the land around them, the work, the day, and got you waking up every morning not hating who you see in the mirror. That's more than most people get. Mark hammers a nail, thinks about it. You're a pain in the ass, Ray. I know, but I'm your pain in the ass, and you're stuck with me. They work in silence, comfortable silence. The kind built over 30 years. Ray's radio plays country, old stuff, Merle Haggard, George Jones, songs about loss and whiskey and survival. Mark knows all the words. They work until sunset. Pack up. Ray pays for dinner at the diner. Meatloaf special. Coffee that's actually good for once. You hear from the kids? Ray asks. Amber called last week. That's good. She's not ready to see me yet, but she called. Yeah, that's progress. Mark cuts his meatloaf. Dylan asked about me. You said. He did. Think he'll call? Ray shrugs. Don't know. But he's thinking about you. That's something. Mark eats. The food tastes good. He's hungry. Actually hungry, not just eating to survive. That's new. That night, Mark texts Amber. Thanks for calling last week. He doesn't expect a response. Doesn't get one. But 2 hours later, his phone buzzes. Just 3 words. Love you too. He reads it 6 times, saves it, goes to bed, sleeps, dreams about the land, about his father, about Amber learning to drive. Good dreams. Not memories drowning him, just dreams. He wakes at 5, makes coffee, sits on the porch. The morning's cold but clear. Sun coming up, birds starting. Mockingbird in the oak tree down the street, singing its stolen songs. Mark listens, thinks, maybe this is enough. Maybe this is what healing looks like. Not dramatic, not complete, just small graces adding up. Amber's text, Jim's kindness, Ray's loyalty, the land returned. His name cleared. Not everything he wanted, but something. He finishes his coffee, goes inside, gets ready for work. Life continues. For the first time in a year, that feels okay. Spring, 6 months after the verdict. Mark drives to the 40 acres. Early morning, mist rising from the low ground. He brings a shovel, a young oak sapling from the nursery, work gloves, a jug of water. He parks at the gate, walks in. The land knows him, always has. His boots know the path, past the clearing, down to where his father's buried. The old oak stands massive. 70 years of growth, lightning scarred. Still here. Mark finds a spot 20 feet away. Good soil, morning sun, room to grow. He digs. The earth's dark. Rich, smells like rain and roots in time. He digs deep, takes his time, no rush. When the hole's ready, he sets the sapling in. Fragile thing, 3 feet tall, thin trunk. But the roots look strong. He packs soil around it. Gentle, firm, waters it slow so the ground can drink. Steps back. 2 oaks now, his father's, his. He kneels, touches the young bark. Smooth, alive. This one's for me. He sits, leans against his father's stone, watches sunrise through the branches. Gold light, pink clouds, the kind of morning his father lived for. A mockingbird starts singing, loud, insistent, repeating its stolen songs like they're original. Mark smiles. The land doesn't forget who loved it. The body doesn't lie. And a man who plants a tree he'll never sit under. That's a man who knows what legacy really means. He stays until the sun clears the trees, until the mist burns off, until the day begins. Then he stands, brushes dirt from his jeans, looks at the sapling one more time. Small, fragile, but planted. He walks back to his truck, drives home, alone, but not lonely.